Welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History with me, Claire Ridgway, author of On This Day in Tudor History. Now today I'm taking you back to 1570 and the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. For on this day in Tudor history, the 23rd of October 1570, John Hopkins, poet, psalmodist and Church of England clergyman, was buried at Great Waldingfield in Suffolk. Churchman and historian John Bale described Hopkins as not the least significant of British poets of our time. I do like that, not the least significant. And Hopkins' psalms were included in the 1562 The Whole Book of Psalms, collected into English metre by T. Starnhold, J. Hopkins and others. Now, I thought I'd share with you some facts about John Hopkins, a man I'm sure you've never heard of. He's one of those lesser-known Tudor men. He's a bit of a mystery man as well. Not much is known about him, but I can tell you a few things that are known about him. He was born in Staffordshire in around 1520 to 1521, Wednesbury in Staffordshire. It is thought that he studied at Oxford before moving to London. In December 1549, printer Edward Whitchurch published all such psalms of David as Thomas Sternhold, late groom of the King's Majesty's robes, did in his lifetime draw into English metre, to which were added psalms by John Hopkins. Hopkins explained that these psalms were added especially to fill up a place that the book may rise to his just volume. So he's kind of saying that he added psalms to Sternhold's book just to sort of make it a bigger book, to fill it up. In the 1550s, it is thought that Hopkins worked as a schoolmaster. One of his contemporaries described him as Master John Hopkins, that worthy schoolmaster. He was ordained and became rector of Great Waldingfield in Suffolk in 1561. By 1562, he'd composed 54 new versions of psalms. In 1562, printer John Day published the Whole Book of Psalms, collected into English metre by T. Starnhold, J. Hopkins and others. Hopkins had a wife, Anne, a son, John, and daughters, Martha and Sarah. It is not known exactly when Hopkins died, but he wrote his will on the 10th of October 1570 and was buried on the 23rd of October 1570. So by the 10th of October, he obviously felt that he was dying and then died between that date and the 23rd when he was buried. In his will, I love this, in his will he bequeathed 10 lambs to Martha to be delivered to her when her mother shall see good. And I just love that because he was a rector of a church, so he had his flock of parishioners, but it is obvious by his will that he also had a flock of real sheep, and I just love that. He was a shepherd of people and a shepherd of sheep as well. As well as describing Hopkins as not the least significant of British poets of our time in 1559, churchman and historian John Bale also described his elegant, harmonious arrangement of words in English measures. So he was quite complimentary of Hopkins' work. Hopkins' biographer Rivka Zim notes that from 1562 until the 1690s, the Elizabethan metrical psalms were the best known English verses because every Englishman, woman and child sang them in church, and adds that Hopkins was the author of the largest number, 61 out of the 150 psalms. So I love that Hopkins' version of the Psalms were known by every single person in England at that time because they used them, in church. I just think that is wonderful. So, on this day in 1570, a man, John Hopkins, who was a clergyman, psalmodist, and shepherd of both people and sheep, was buried. I do love digging into the lives of these lesser known Tudor people, coming across these names that we don't always recognise, but people who did make an impact on the time they lived in, and people that are still remembered by some today. Thank you for joining me. You can subscribe to the channel by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified as videos go live, and you can of course give me a like as well. I will be back tomorrow with some more Tudor history for you. I love talking Tudor. See you then. Bye bye.